Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Austin the Stash with the week that was with the one and only Melanie Wilkinson.
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, 2025.
I know.
This week is always the weird week, even though it's the normal week that comes after 2 really weird weeks.
I know. And it seems kind of depressing a little bit at first, and then it's like, oh, no.
We're good.
It's time to get back into the swing of things.
My dad has said for years that his favorite day of the year is January 2nd because that means all of the stuff is over and we can just relax and things can get back to normal.
Back to normal. And, but things are still happening. I haven't seen you since before Christmas.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And I'm glad we lived through the holidays. But yeah, life still carried on since the last time I saw you. And plus, it's the end, when the end of the year comes, this is also a chance to look back at things that have gone on. It's my statistic week, I always call it.
I love
because everybody talks about what they did. So anyhow, but yeah. So while we were gone, we haven't talked.
Yes.
There was a jury trial in York.
Okay.
And we haven't had a jury trial for quite a while in district court, but this one was an interesting one, if you'd like to hear about it.
I would love to hear about it.
Okay, so have you heard of Nico Jenkins?
So I haven't.
Okay.
I feel like I should.
You should. He's one of the most infamous killers in Nebraska history, and he's sitting on...
There's not many of them.
Okay. No, there's not a lot of them. I think right now, there's only 9 people on death row, and he's one of them.
Uh-huh.
So he has a sister named Erica.
Okay.
And Erica helped him kill people.
Oh.
Back in the day.
So she's also bad.
And so she's a lifer at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women in York.
Gotcha.
And so she's going to be there a long time, but she has kind of a pattern of assaulting other inmates.
Oh, well, I got nothing else going on.
A few years ago, for some reason, they put her cousin in the same cell with her, but the cousin had flipped on her and gave up information against her, which helped her get life in prison.
Ooh.
Well, that didn't work. It didn't work out good. So she assaulted her cousin, and then she got another 40 years after a jury trial here in York.
Gotcha.
Because those have to be held here because the prison exists here.
Yeah.
Then, this is an interesting thing. So then later on, she changed her name. Are you ready? It's quite a name.
Okay.
Okay, it's Illuminati, Egotis, and Nico Prestige.
Illuminati? Like... What?
Like Illuminati.
Like the secret conspiracy. Secret order.
But spelled with an E.
Well, of course.
So it's Illuminati, Egotis, and Nico Prestige. So that's her name now. So anyhow.
I'm going to throw it out there. If I was spending my life in prison, I would also find weird things to do.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I probably wouldn't assault any other inmates, but I would probably change my name to something weird.
Sure.
Why not?
I want you to think about it and come back next time and tell me if you could change your name to something, what would it be?
Oh, absolutely. Thunder is going to be in there somewhere.
Thunder's going to be in there?
Thunder's going to be the middle name. Okay. I know that for a fact.
Okay, so back to what we're talking about.
Anyway, yes.
Okay, Illuminati.
Yes.
Allegedly beat up another inmate again.
Okay.
And so it went to jury trial, and we had the jury trial here. Didn't take long. The York County jurors came back with a guilty verdict. So she's going to be sentenced again, looking at another 40 years, but
already a lifer.
But she's already life plus 40. So that would just put her at life plus 80. So anyway, that was something interesting that happened.
Whoa. At what point do they just stop taking her to trials?
Well, they have to. You have to because
it's
you have to set a standard for the other inmates.
Right.
Although, in the big scheme of things,
seems weird.
Yeah.
That's
our judicial system, and that's how the prison system works.
That's happening in York, Nebraska.
It is. Well, and remember too, York County is responsible for the bills to pay jurors and stuff because the prison's located here.
Yeah.
It's one of you have the benefits of having the jobs and the economic development part of the prison, but then there's also that.
There's the other
So
side of it.
also in crime, this one is interesting. So just right down the road here in Goner, the Seward Sheriff's Department, the Nebraska State Patrol, and the U.S. Marshals.
Oh, the big guns.
Big guns. Arrested a man. His name is Alberto Perez Million. He's 28 from Texas. Well, apparently he is wanted for a nightclub murder in Arlington, Texas.
Oh, okay.
So they received information that he was in this area, and they found him, and they took him into custody.
Whoa.
And it's a pretty big deal down in Texas, because I went to look. I thought, well, what kind of murder, what situation? So apparently there were these two guys fighting in a parking lot at a nightclub, and Mr. Million didn't know either one of them, wasn't even in the fight, and for some reason pulled out a gun and started shooting at him.
Whoa.
Yeah. And no one still knows, according to the Arlington media, why he opened fire, but he did. And so he killed people, and then he ran, and of course, where did he come? Here.
He ended up in Goner?
Yeah.
What?
The little tiny town of Goner. And
no one would find him in Goner.
Somehow, I think they were I think that they had information that he'd been traveling down Interstate 80, but for some reason they knew he was in Goner, so they went in and got him, and he's being extradited back to Texas. So that's just something interesting.
Yeah. Well, wow. I mean, good on the boys in blue for finding him.
They did.
I mean, wow.
They did.
That's crazy.
So there's that.
So
more
crime didn't stop.
No. Speaking of crime, also, like I said, this is my weakest statistics.
Yeah.
So York County Sheriff's Department did their year-end totals.
I saw the Facebook post.
Okay, did you read it?
I saw it. I was like, Melanie's going to have this.
It's quite something.
It really is.
So in 2024, just one calendar year, they responded to 9,360 calls for service.
That's so many. That's a ton.
Well,
in my mind,
divide
that's
it
so
by
many.
the days in the year, and it's incredible. During that time, they also made 3,763 traffic stops.
Jeez.
Responded to 282 accidents.
About 26 calls a day. That's so many.
And you think there's only so many deputies on.
Yeah.
So they're busy.
Yeah.
They assisted 318 motorists. They made 479 arrests.
Oh, wow. So a little over one a day.
And then don't forget, they do that civil service, like they serve papers for 2,073 of those. They heard about 551 traffic complaints, and they picked up 80 people for DUI. So,
wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Those are some wild stats.
I know we're a little crime heavy today, but
it's interesting.
I find it really interesting.
Yeah.
So with all these people being arrested and taken in custody and all this process, the county is making all these new improvements now. They're installing, actually, I think they said next week, they're going to start installing brand new cameras, higher resolution than what we had before in the jail area. Eventually, there'll be 80 new ones in the whole courthouse and out at the Rose Department, which is kind of important.
Yeah, I would imagine
I guess if, to keep that all secure. And then they also got a grant for $30,000 that's going to be used for all brand new in-car computers for the deputies. Have you seen the inside of today's cruisers?
I drove one not too long ago.
Why?
I'm doing a video with the city of York.
Oh, good.
And Officer Mount showed me, gave me a course, and he showed me how to drive. And so
this is cool.
Yeah, that video should be coming out.
I can't wait to see it.
I think it's either this week or next week.
But isn't it astounding how much stuff is in a cruiser?
Oh, there's so much. Like it's like a spaceship.
It is. And so when I just remember, like years and years ago, I'd do some ride-alongs, to do stories or whatever.
Sure.
And there was room that you could sit in the cruiser without being in the cage.
Yeah.
Well, now it's
not so much.
They're full, and there's a lot of equipment. But you think about it. You're doing a traffic stop. you have to, dispatch. Okay, so they're looking up things and telling you about their criminal history. But then they also have these in-car computers so that they can do it too. So they know if they just picked up somebody for speeding, they'll know, well, is he a wanted fugitive out of Texas?
Right.
So anyhow, we're getting all brand new ones of those too.
Wow. All
but
right.
The old ones are still good, but they do get a lot of wear and tear. They're not like your desktop computer sitting in your office.
Sure.
They're riding around and all kinds of things are happening. So that's that.
Well, very interesting.
That is that. And then one more. Okay, I got two cool things for you.
Alrighty.
Downtown. Do you know about the contamination problem?
So I didn't know. All I know is that around, chances are, there's been a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't really know why.
Yeah. So years ago, the federal government designated York as a brownfield, and that's a big deal. Okay. So that means that it was prioritized as a federal project because they found such terrible contamination in the soil and plumes that had seeped into the groundwater. And
contamination
and it's in the downtown area, this one that they're dealing with here.
What contaminated it?
This is wild. Back in the 1950s, dry cleaners.
Whoa! Mm-hmm. Really?
There were, apparently at that time, 7 dry cleaners in downtown York.
That's a lot of dry cleaners for York, Nebraska.
Maybe it was,
it was more common, I guess.
But you think back, I suppose it's like we have more of the ready-to-wear products today.
Sure.
How much dry cleaning do you do?
None.
Right.
None.
And I think maybe people wore more suits. Maybe people were, I don't know, but it was probably the textiles.
Sure.
Anyway, there were 7. Mm-hmm. Nobody was doing anything illegal at the time.
Well, sure.
It just wasn't understood that the solvents that they were using were
real bad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Right? So that high concentration somehow, went into the air, got into the soil, which is strange. And then it started to go into the groundwater, which is
bad news.
Yeah. So they had to stop it.
Right.
So after years of pinpointing what was going to happen and doing planning and all that, the EPA came in and they installed that weird system of it's electrodes that are going into the ground. I don't profess to understand it.
Sure.
They've been down there in the area of 5th and Platte for almost 2 years.
Yeah. Basically since I started working here.
Yeah, but here's the great news. So a representative of the EPA has said that they have pulled more contaminant out of that site than he's ever seen. And he only has worked his career in the area of remediation. He's seen some stuff. Bad prioritized projects, throughout the United States. Well, the good news is that it is working.
Well, good.
It's working. So they're going to take soil samples in the beginning of February, and if those come back clean, they'll take all that out, restore the streets back to what they were, and then travel and
everything's great.
That whole area will be back to normal. Now, just to the north, about 2 blocks. About a block or 2. They had to take a whole building down because they needed to put in equipment there. That work will continue, but that's just on that one site, not in the streets.
Gotcha.
So this will be a big plus, especially for the businesses that are down there
in
that area that have been contending with it.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
good.
Good news.
Good news.
Love it.
Okay, and then, this is just a nice thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up. So at Christmas, the Elks Lodge here in town get together. A lot of them, like 70 Elks members, get together and they deliver Christmas baskets to families in need. And this year they did 189.
Whoa.
And what's in the baskets, they're boxes, but what's in the baskets are all the ingredients to make Christmas dinner.
Oh, that's sweet.
And so,
I like that.
But 189 of them.
You wouldn't expect that many in York.
But they did go to, they had 18 teams delivering. They went to Stromsburg, Osceola, Marquette.
Gotcha.
Aurora, Henderson, McCool, Geneva, Fairmont, Seward, and Goner. And then a great...
wow. So they went to
they
a
went
lot, all over.
And then a high concentration in York. So...
Well, that's fantastic.
Good job to them.
Absolutely.
And they take their time, their vehicles, they pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a cheap endeavor.
Sure.
But that's one of their big projects. I think they've been doing it for decades. I don't even know the amount of years. So
that's really cool.
So that's kind of cool. We started with Illuminati.
And we ended
with the Elks.
Well, I tell you what.
But
what a wild couple of weeks it's been.
It's been. So, well, I guess we'll see what 2025 is going to bring.
I mean, 2024 ended on a high note, apparently.
Apparently so.
Goodness gracious.
So that is the 2 weeks that were.
Fantastic.
Okay.
For more information and plenty of more stories, be sure to head to justmelanie.com.
Please do. And I do also have a photo gallery with a lot of photos from 2024 if you want to take a look.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Melanie, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.